Oh, hey, what's going on there? We got what
Yeah,
playing with some ribbons?
yeah, doing my going over putting some of my ISTE stuff away and kind of decompressing. And I was going through a bunch
Oh,
of other ribbons and stuff and things I have from various conferences. Since ISTE just wrapped up a couple weeks ago, seems like almost yesterday, but not quite. Couple
yeah,
weeks.
yeah. You had an interesting trip out of there, getting caught with some storms and some rain in Houston, and
Yeah,
fortunately got out before the worst of it.
yeah, very fortunate. They got thumped really bad down there.
Yeah, very much. But yeah, man. So what are we looking at? July 15th. Football when next week. I guess a lot of teams just have to report and all that, and things. What's going on the Aaron Rodgers front. How's Pittsburgh doing?
He took. I don't know if he took, but a bunch of the receivers went out and had their picture taken with him out in California. A training camp opened up for a team which I will not mention because they're out by you, but I do not like them. They are formerly of the Cleveland Browns parish.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
their training camp opened today. I saw on ESPN. But oops, I just dropped my little fidget spinner I was playing with. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he was throwing to receivers and stuff out in California. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully well. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
We will see. But some of the sports shows they're not ranking them up that high on the list as to hopeful how we'll do. But hopefully they're wrong. Got to root for them.
Yeah, man. That's what you got to do. Trust me, I know. Whether things are going to go well or not, man, you got to root for them. So, yeah, no, it's crazy. So we are in the teachers Saturday, the month of June. I'm sorry, the month of July, midway through there. So how's teachers Saturday treating you? What all have you been doing?
Oh man, it is just I came back from ISTE and jumped on it was the holiday, July 4th. I got back late. Yeah. Actually left Houston because I jumped from San Antonio to Houston. And I want to say fortunate. We got out of there before the big storms hit. As we were I was watching and it said, en route, because I haven't flown in 21 years. So I'm watching, en route. And I'm like, well, we're 15 minutes from boarding. It's still en route. And I'm like, that's not good. Look at the weather app because I'm a weather geek. And I'm like, that's not good. And I looked out the window. I'm like, it's raining pretty hard, but it was tinted. I'm like, oh, it's raining pretty good. And I'm like, okay, the plane should be here by now because I can't see how they're going to fly from California to Houston, get everyone off, everyone on, and leave when we're supposed to, plus get extra fuel in the jet. I'm like, I don't know. And lightning hit. And I'm like, okay, I think we're not leaving on time. And that's when it went delayed several times. So we actually left Houston after I was supposed to land in Pittsburgh.
Right. How crazy is that? But yeah.
Oh, I know. There was nothing open. So even like I stopped at a couple establishments on the way home and their kitchens were closed. I'm like, oh man. It's like I'm home and I had leftover pizza from earlier that evening. That was my dinner.
Gotcha. Yeah, roughing it. Yeah, because you left San Antonio, went to Houston. We were still sitting there. I think we boarded our plane and left, and you were still chilling. And you had a little layover, but it's just wild the way that weather went. But so like going through and just getting back into reality, starting to get some things, get some things set, starting to look at and getting some things set up for next year and stuff like that. And but we got the big KTI summit happening next week, and that's going to be exciting. So hanging out at Shippensburg University for the week. So a lot of good stuff. Yeah.
You didn't have an eventful trip back. You guys got back and just little drive home and uneventful this year, which is good.
Yeah. As opposed to last year on the way there, having a car side swipe you at 3:30 a.m. on the Baltimore Beltway. So it definitely was a lot better. No issues there. So
that's
and
good.
Thankfully you got home safe, all that jazz. So home in time to get the grass mowed and to start taking care of the honeydew list. So there's always stuff to be done. Always stuff. So I think think, it's a Tuesday. I feel like I'm thrown off a little bit. What Tuesday do we have here? Is it a major Tuesday?
I don't know. I got to check because I'm a little lost. It's been, I've been answering emails because you go to the conferences and you get your badge scanned for all the goodies, and we're getting some. Oh wait, this is the third Tuesday.
Huh, well, that's a big Tuesday, so I think it's time for
the PAECT Pod.
Let's roll. Welcome to the PAECT Pod, a show for educators by educators. PAECT is a 100% volunteer-run organization that focuses on education technology integrations in the classroom in Pennsylvania
and beyond.
My name is Eric Verno. I'm the president of PAECT, and with me, as always, is my co-host,
Dom Salvucci. I'm the vice president of PAECT.
All right, and we've got episode 83. We're looking at an ISTE 2025 review, a recap, if you will, kind of talk about what different things we saw and what different things were going on the floor of ISTE.
It is, in a good way, an overwhelming conference. Just the volume of people, the amount of people there, the vendors, the space. It is a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like, you got your homecoming of sorts, seeing people from all over the US and some internationally that you run into. And, so you got your different, if you're there for some different big tech companies, we were there as partners of ISTE. So meeting with a lot of other partners across the state and talking about different things going on there. So it's definitely a great time to really pick people's brains and sit down and see some different sessions and how people are doing things. And the PAECT Pod showed up a little bit. We had a little activity going on.
Had a nice little presentation on Monday, and threw me off because I was looking at everything while I was here in Eastern time. Go there and everything switches, and all of a sudden you're in Central time. I'm like, whoa! To like do a little scrambling on the schedule there.
Yep. Yeah. The big thing going through and making sure you're all of the things that you have written down are properly listed, because some companies are emailing you and they're using the Central time. Some people are sending it to you in your time. So definitely a lot of confusion there. And yeah. Oh, yeah. And Rochelle was there cranking out her unbelievable knowledge and sharing in a lot of different scenarios. Yeah. And I actually did find a triple highlighter, but I couldn't find her to give it to her. So I have it here in a bag. So I don't know when I guess I'm going to have to save it till Pete and C. Rochelle, come find me a Pete. I'll have it for you. But I actually did scope one. I was right away. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to find her. It just didn't happen.
I did run into her in between sessions, and she did mention, looking at highlighters. So
yeah, well, I saw her at an event, but that was before I had the goods. So anyway, so it didn't work out. So yeah, but yeah, no, a lot of different people there, a lot of stuff. And, I was impressed last year with ISTE. I was kind of like, looking for stuff for the math classroom, and there was a lack of. This year, there definitely was not a lack of. So I feel like, you have your ebb and flows and stuff, but AI still took the forefront. And then, yeah. Well, see, listen, you're just better than we are, Rochelle. We should have called you for tips. Should have had you on the tip show. But I see you have your badge. My badge is, I left it at the Microsoft booth after I was done doing my volunteer hours at their AI. We were doing some Copilot images and printing stickers for the teachers. It was pretty cool. So it was a good time doing that. So yeah, got a chance to see people now. It's off my camera here, a little bit over here. I have a purple cape. Let's see. So I have a OneNote Avengers cape, and I was talking with Mike Tolfson, who's one of the big engineers who was working on Microsoft way back when. I think 2009 is when they started it. But this was the 10-year anniversary of me actually receiving that cape. So 2015 is when I won it, going to an MIE academy. And I currently do trainings with one of the teachers, one of the girls that does trainings for the organization that was running that academy. And again, Mike Tolfson's the one who gave it to me. And they don't make the capes like that anymore. They do have capes, but they don't have the the information on there just quite the same. It's a little different, just the logo, no words. So that's an OG one. But yeah, back from 2015. And as I was sitting there, I had this I'm sitting in a partners meeting with them, and he was up on stage presenting, and Charity was the one. Yeah, he is. He's phenomenal. And Charity sitting next to me, and I look at her, I go, this is our 10-year anniversary of ever meeting each other. And she's like, what? And I pulled a picture up because that was back. It was ISTE in Philadelphia, and the MIE Academy was like Saturday before ISTE started, kind of a thing. You sign up for it and go through, and you had to come up with a way you're going to use a tool that they were going over that day and post it on Twitter. And because back then it was just Twitter, and I posted a thing about how to use tags, which I still use today. And they picked it, and they called my name. I won that and got a picture, and yeah, and been using that app ever since. But yeah, so I had got to experience some of that, some nostalgia. I know you haven't been to as many ISTEs. Yeah, so you were
my second,
right? And so yeah, just going to different ones and being around different people. And the coolest part is like Eric Kurtz, we were there talking. And if you check out the hashtag Beards of ISTE, I jokingly say he was one of the founding members. So we'll go around and I'll get some selfies with people that are talking or that got some nice beards. So I slacked a little bit on it this year. I didn't get as many pictures this year I normally do, but a lot of different things going on. But you were just having a conversation with Eric, and I just pop in and interrupted to get a picture real quick. And then you guys continue your, but some people, you read his website, you see the stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy, unbelievable, amazing. But yet, you go up to them, you talk, they're just good people, and they're educators like us. They put their pants on, their shirts on, their ties on, whatever the case may be, just like we do, but some people shy away from those conversations. But, it was awesome seeing you in the mix, talking to different people. That was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's from Cleveland. He's done work with PAECT. He was just in the area hanging out with his wife. They just did a little road trip into Western Pennsylvania. We were talking about that. And I forgot he was from Cleveland, which isn't that far from where I'm at. I'm about halfway, little less than halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh on the PA side of the border. But it's, great people talking. They had a bunch of authors there, book signings, because ASCD was involved. And ISTE always has their authors involved, but you also have the ASCD authors involved, and bringing in other people. Great time. Talked with some people from around the United States, people who were in departments of education, heads of departments of education, other organizations that are ISTE or ASCD affiliated, and even talking with some people from some nonprofits that do a lot of work with education. It was pretty good. I know I spent time on the vendor floor. I know I didn't get through to see every vendor there on the floor because it was just huge. Saw a bunch, saw our sponsors, got to talk with them. Got some cool stuff. Got a couple cowboy hats, got a couple capes. Got some stickers. Kids will like that. Got a lot of good information because actually walking the vendor floor, you have people doing presentations with the vendors. So you have the ISTE sessions, ASCD sessions that are on site. You have them at the various locations around there. There was a couple hotels that had sessions going on. Then you had sessions going on in the vendor hall with the vendors. So there was a lot of information going on with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's the craziest part, that you can get lost and spend all day in the vendor hall, in the expo hall, and but there's so many different things going on, all the different things, like just the different booths that are sharing different stuff. One of our friends, I just saw that I ended up not being able to go near him, but he was at the Class Dojo booth and he was podcasting from the floor. So there's a lot of time you could step up to do that if you've never been a part of a podcast. Mm-hmm. Our session was about how to do it, how to teach kids how to do it in your classroom. You got, Brisk was insane. They had amazing stuff. It was the Brisk barbecue. I jokingly went over, was trying to get the spare ribs, but they had none available. And, but you got different people, I'm sure, I think Rochelle was at a booth or two. I forget who she was working with, but Matt Miller was at Brisk. He was bouncing around doing different things. You got some different teachers that they have, even again, because I'm an MIE trainer. So I had the opportunity to, if I wanted to share from the Microsoft booth stage to give a presentation scenario, I opted to work outside their learning classrooms. And again, they had a whole Copilot station set up with their designer.microsoft.com, and they pull in the AI with that, where everybody was typing in what they looked like, different scenes to do, and then the picture would come up, and they had printers there that they were able to print off a picture, a sticker. They're putting it on their badge. So that was really cool. And then, a cool opportunity to hang out at the Canva booth. That was definitely popping. Last year,
couldn't get close to Canva. That was tough.
Right. Yeah. And, but people were lined up all the way around. And they were just, they were creating an image using Canva's AI, and then they were printing it on canvas bags. Now I got a canvas bag from working with Canva and doing trainings with them, but they were having it print right there. I didn't stick around for that, but I was volunteering to help with crowd control. So I got to act like I was a Canva bouncer for a little bit there. But yeah, so there was a lot of good stuff going there. The Merrills were there. I feel like they were presenting at a lot of different places, but a lot of good information. Definitely things to take back. And I will say, one of the big things that for me, a big takeaway was going through, and Google had a classroom set up where one of the training partners was working, and I knew the people that were working it. We were chatting, and they were just walking through class tools. So if you're using Google Classroom, and I think it's the Classroom Plus version, the classroom tools that they have right now are unbelievable. And so it's pretty wild. The catch is, which I thought was unique, is a lot of teachers you're using, I think, a Mac in school. We're using, PCs in school. Mm-hmm. Kids are on Chromebooks though. But the interesting thing they did this year is they pulled some Gemini stuff in. So even whether you're using one of those other devices with the kids, you can pull whatever. But one of the big things is, if you're using a Chromebook, the classroom tools that are available to you are amazing. And one of the biggest things was you could turn on captioning. So as the presenter was presenting and she's talking up front, her Chromebook was picking up, the microphone was picking up her talking, and it was live captioning, very accurate to our screens. And then the power is, because that's been around. Microsoft had their Translate app and things like that. But the cool thing is the teacher can turn it on or turn it off in Classroom Tools in Google Classroom. And me as the student, I can select one of, I think there's currently 35 languages. Oh, wow. I look at our ELL populations. I look at some of our teachers that are struggling with that communication. And this is, you literally set it, forget it. It's rolling. And the kids are able to adjust it so they can understand what the teacher's saying. I thought, now that is some amazing AI use,
Yeah, that's fantastic. And they had ISTE ASCD had their bookstore set up. I got some stuff, some quick reference guides for my daughter. She's going into education. So I grabbed some stuff there, grabbed this my ISTE shirt from Philadelphia. The last Philadelphia, when I was supposed to go to the one 10 years ago, but some issues popped up that I couldn't make it. So that should have been my third, and ended up being my second. And got a ISTE polo. So for school, I can actually wear some ISTE gear instead of just dress down days, and got some odds and ends. But they had a lot going on. Saw some of the PACT sponsors, some friends of PACT who have donated stuff to us in the past. Talked to a lot of people that I know there, both on the vendor floor and some mentors that I follow on social media. I get to see them sometimes at Pete and C, but definitely at ISTE. They're there, so I get to run into them, which is pretty cool. And said our presentation went well. Got a lot of good information that I'm starting to fiddle through and work with for this upcoming year. Like you said, it's Saturday. I decompressed for about a week. I'll be very truthful. I sat back, I caught up on emails, and did my summer school stuff because I'm working with our summer school class. And then like now I'm like, okay, how can I implement some of these things that are really cool? There's some storytelling. I did more on the storytelling side, and some with AI. Got some really good ideas on incorporating AI to stimulate the discussion.
Yeah.
Not so much the students using the AI to create, but it's actually Dr. Camille Dempsey. She had this idea. It was a history one, but it wasn't like technically history, but using AI to pull stuff up and the AI imaging, and then using that to bring back conversation and get kids talking about different things. And we were bouncing ideas back and forth with that. That was like one of those lightning sessions. I forget what they were called off the top of my head, but the little 30-minute, that was good. Saw some other really good sessions. And then there were a lot of virtual sessions. I know Sunday I sat in the lobby and had some coffee and just, was bouncing in and out of virtual sessions, which was nice. And I'm going to go back, and there's a couple I missed, but I'm going to go back and check those out. I don't know how many pages my notes are up to. I have a ton of notes. And then Eric Kurtz had a sharing for, links about different presentations on ISTE. And then you had the vendor sessions in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, and those were not just social, they were informative too. I went to a breakfast with Kahoot, and more than just a review game, the effort they put in with they had a developer, they had a couple special ed teachers, they had a gentleman there from, I forget the organization, it was a nonprofit that works with people with disabilities to make sure everything's meets the standards. And it was phenomenal. One of the quotes that, and a lot of people forget about this, but that really moved me was, it's not up to the learner to meet the content. It's for the content to meet the learner. So you have to make those adjustments. And that's was one of the things that they really put a lot of effort into. They're not one of our sponsors, but they do put a lot of effort. And you got to appreciate when someone, an organization like that, a company like that, puts in the effort and pulls various people into, improve their tool. So it's not just a one-shot deal. That was good. That was a breakfast they had. And I missed out on the churro French toast. I didn't know what it was at first, so I went with the sweet roll. And I'm like, I couldn't get, it's like too much.
You're never gonna let that one down. Never gonna let that one down. Your big concern, your big regret of ISTE 25. Yeah.
I learned how to use Uber, not always successfully. A little stressful.
That you did. Yeah, and we got to see some sites. Yeah. Got to see some sites, got up to the Tower of America, which was built back when the World's Fair was there. So that was neat. Lenovo did a thing up there. We walked the Alamo on day number 1 and got to see there. And I think I found the secret entrance to the basement. I think I found it. It's a well. There's a well, but I'm like, that's tricky. Nobody can find it. It's through the well. And so I got to see a lot of that stuff and just some of the amazing just architecture, the historical architecture and stuff around was gorgeous, just unbelievable.
Yeah. And the Riverwalk was neat. Some of it's touristy, but you don't realize how far along it goes. Walked that a few times, and it's a really neat city. That last day we were there when the rain hit, that was crazy scary. To see how much water, 'cause it's flat. The water has nowhere to go. They just had the rain that came through here yesterday. I think it was yesterday morning, that hit New York City and flooded the subways and stuff. I mean, that's going on, and they got thumped with it that Friday just as we were packing stuff up. And we got some things to bring back for the students, and we got some goodies for KTI, but a lot of the teachers there that were local, I was jealous. They got scored some good classroom materials because the vendors don't want to ship that stuff back.
Yeah, it's like the little secret gem of these events. When it was in Philadelphia, I believe there's a picture floating around of you and some other accomplices pushing computer carts through the roads of Philadelphia. And yeah, so a lot of the vendors don't want to bring that stuff back. So somebody scored like an 80-inch TV, tables, things of that nature. But
Stools.
Again, yeah.
Speaking of the Philadelphia, the streets of Philadelphia with the carts, I think that was a Bruce Springsteen song. I'd like to take credit for, he changed the words to keep us out of it because, we're modest, but,
yeah, he must have. He came to the future to find the inspiration and went back and wrote it back when. Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, in the rain there, just the different. They don't get a lot of rain, but they get it quickly. Now, I don't want to say because again, they had some torrential flooding and horrendous scenarios going on. But I feel like we brought a little bit of that weather back. We've had some rough rainfalls, and I think just northwest of us. 2 nights ago, they got like 5 inches of rain in an hour. Like it's been some insane rain. So of course, through the summers, we have just the crazy heat and you got like those storms that'll come. They've just been a little bit harsher than normal. And then you get sun, no cool temperatures in sight. So we're in those dog days, man.
Yeah. And I know when we were down, I talked to some people from PA that, they had some water damage in their houses while they were away. That's the one downfall of these things is, you're far away from home and stuff hits home and, it's hard. It's hard because you're away, but I was fortunate. The rain stayed south of us, but it clipped you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Kind of crazy. Yeah. Well, my big things too, I'm working on pulling a lot of things over, utilizing Canva a lot more next year, especially with the kids. And I've been working on, testing a little bit with the Gemini in the back end and Copilot Studio and working on creating some, in essence, GPTs to be able to help with coming up with different kind of activities, different kind of questions, things like that for the classroom use for rotational work. And, the one cool thing in Canva, you can go in and you can use it to make word searches and stuff now. Nice. Whereas back in the day, that was like Discovery Channel. We'd hop on. They had like a free app to be able to do that. So some of those different things are kind of like setting some stuff up and so, and the other thing is hearing a lot of teachers that are talking about things that they're finding on TikTok. I heard a lot of talk about that in the hallways and in the areas, the entrance area. Yeah. And speaking of that, now we have no videos on there yet, but PAECT Pod has a TikTok now. We are going to be pushing out some videos there and eventually work on pushing our live content when we're presenting on TikTok. So look up PAECT Pod on TikTok. And again, we got to work on getting some content up there that was just created recently. And also other breaking news is we are on iHeartRadio. So now you can catch the podcast on iHeartRadio. So
I believe we should be on Apple Music, Amazon Music, should be on all that. And then I know we put in for iHeart. Glad that came through. So,
yep, that's relatively new.
So our main platform.
Yep, a lot of good stuff going there, and we're going to be messing with some other different concepts. And we've been using StreamYard a while. We're going to be testing out some other ones and see, just to make sure we're sticking with the stuff that gives us the best bang for the buck. So there might be some changes coming forward. You don't know.
Well, shout out to Justin for helping us from Soundtrap with our presentation.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. Soundtrap is such a versatile tool. You can get a 90-day, a 90-day
pro account
for 90. Be able to use, kick that off, and you can create classrooms in there. Your students can get in there and work on making some different sound mixes. And if your students are anything like Mr. Dom Salvucci, they're going to get lost in all the sounds and all the bells and whistles, literally bells and whistles playing around. So
you have sirens, you have crows for bad jokes. It's great.
If Dom could have the one-man band set up to play during this pod every time, he would. He'd get in trouble by the ladies of the home, but he would be cranking it out. So yeah, but yeah, a lot of good stuff there. But so all right, man. Well, it looks like you got something to share. What do you want to put up on the screen here?
Well, today in Pittsburgh they had an AI and energy summit. So let me pull this
Yeah.
up. And they said $9 billion investing in Pennsylvania. Excuse me. Now, here's the thing. It's not necessarily invested in education, but as a teacher, as educators, we have to prepare our students for this. They're really pushing throughout the state energy and data centers. So you have the trades, you have the technical aspects, you have the programming, you have all of these different things, the planning, the communication between the teams. Everything we teach can be used in these centers. So the Tribune Review, Pittsburgh newspaper, broke it down, and like Blackstone, and that's a $25 billion investment to develop data centers and natural gas centers in northeastern Pennsylvania. Then Homer City, which is by IUP, where I went my undergraduate, they're building a natural gas electric generating station, and they're going to put in a data center. First Energy, which is a major energy producer in the state, they're expanding their power distribution. Pennsylvania Data Center Partners, PPL Corporation, Allentown Energy, they're putting in $6.8 billion to expand grid capacity, because this is something that needs done. So you have the trades, you have electrical engineers, you have other engineers coming involved. You're going to have people that have to communicate all this stuff together. So that brings in the humanities and English and all that. Westinghouse is supposed to be building 10 new nuclear power reactors. So that, that's a possibility of that coming back. Cloud computing, all these energy, and some of them they're refurbishing. Like here, I'm on the border of Beaver County, and their coal-fired plant is going to be converted over into natural gas. And there's already a cracker plant there. There's a lot of wells in the area. So they're going to be bringing that online, changing that over. Google, which has a big presence in Pittsburgh, is going to expand their footprint in the state. Just going down through this list of groups, I was reading through this all across the state. This is the Frontier Group's going to open up the coal-fired plant and put it natural gas. Foreign investment from Norway, expand natural gas production, its facilities in Pennsylvania, because some of the facilities, the gas wells and stuff in Pennsylvania, the energy, they're owned by foreign companies, but it's investment in Pennsylvania. And if we have our students prepared for this, as we get them built out, they can stay in the area. Because let's face it, Pennsylvania, we've been losing population for a while. It's starting to stabilize a bit, but it's not what it used to be. So they had a bunch of different companies and what they were going to invest in Pennsylvania. This is going to be cutting edge stuff. So they had that today, and I saw that in the paper, so I thought that would be big to bring up. And then on a smaller but just as important issue, I'm not going to pull this up, but I'm going to announce this. I got an email the other day from Teachers First, who is a sponsor of PAECT, and I want to put this in the scroll. They're updating how they're contacting everybody. So if you get emails from Teachers First, which everyone does, you need to make sure you either a whitelist or get this going. It is Teachers First is going to be Teachers First at sflinc.org. So make sure that they have trainings. They have live sessions. They have pre-recorded sessions. They send out emails to PACT members. They're one of our sponsors. So they're updating their contacts. So check that out. It's Teachers First, all written out lowercase, at sflinc.org for the dog walkers. So check that out. Make sure that's getting through. If it's not getting through, check your spam folder, check with your district. If you use your school district email, you get that whitelisted. They have a lot of good resources to come through, and they are a friend of the show. Oh, and I almost forgot one last thing, and this isn't a tech note. I wanted to open the show, but I forgot. Tonight, the state of the local baseball team has not been good recently, so I've not been the fan of baseball as I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But friend of the show, Mr. Coy Bowles, and the Zach Brown Band are singing the national anthem tonight at the All-Star game, I believe.
Oh, that is awesome. Okay.
I saw something on or Fox. First things first. So
yeah, well, that's who's covering it. So yeah, that's good. Well, they had the home run derby last night, and that was a cool story. The guy who won is a catcher. First time a catcher's won the home run derby. Yeah. His dad was pitching to him, and his brother, I think, was catching. And he was batting and won it, and definitely very exciting stuff there. So that's all. That's happening in Pittsburgh, right?
No, I forget where the All-Star game is this year.
Okay. All right, not there.
No, it was a while ago.
Okay. So, all right, very good. Well, I think we should go over a little bit of some PAECT updates. What do we think?
Sounds good.
As soon as I find here. All right, so pull this up here. So as we always kick things off and talk about the calendar, we've got our virtual board meeting coming up tomorrow. We've got the KTI Summit, and obviously if you're coming to that event, you're coming to the event. But if you are not, the Keystone Together in Cyberspace, the KTIC 2025 event is occurring. Not too late to register. We got all sorts of sessions going on. So we've got they're going to kick it off with an EdCamp networking event hosted by the Cyber Sisters. We've got Seeing is Believing, Tools and Strategies to Promote Critical Thinking. Love that, by Patty Duncan. Jason Kosmitsky is doing Useful AI Tools for Differentiation. He's doing a lot of great stuff in and out of his classroom these days. Laura Ebersol is doing Aligning Transformational Learning. All right, so she is also the advocacy chair for PAECT, doing a lot of great work. Rebecca Schaffel and Christina Sanders, hope I said that right. Data in Hand, Minds in Motion, STEM for Real World Discovery. Sounds pretty good. And then we have AI Across the Framework for Teaching by Dr. Sam Fessage, Dr. Jenna Cooper, and Dr. Amy Orville, who also presented at the TERS conference this past fall. And then Jess Kim is doing Sky High Learning, Drones in Upper Elementary. So yeah, a lot of good stuff there. So if you are thinking that you are interested, get in here, paect.org/calendar, get here and register for that event. So
I believe that is free for premium members.
Free for premium members. There is Act 48 being offered for premium members that are going through and taking the classes. If you're looking for some Act 48 hours. So we have the Northeast is doing a Northeast Ice Cream Social on August 4th. And then let's see here. I know we have some other stuff. All right, so the KTI chat is back. We're going to talk about that a little differently shortly. And I know Dom's excited for On Tapped, I believe, as he referenced before, August 15th. I believe that's happening in the Southwest. Yep, yes. So Voodoo Brewing. Yeah, so a lot of stuff there. And then also looking at the Glide, we got KTI kicking off. And then the Ice Cream Social Ed Camp in the Northwest is occurring at Warren County Career Center. We got South Central, the Bearded Goat, a meet and greet going on August 14th, which is a stellar event. Went to it the last 2 years, so looking forward to that. There's the On Tapped, and then Star meet and greet hosted by North Central in person at 814 Cidery on August 17th. So a lot of neat things are happening here to kick off, finish off July and kick off August. So a lot of great stuff. And speaking of exciting things happening for all of our KTI family that hear this, and hopefully there's many of you listening while walking dogs, etc., we are going to be hosting a KTI chat. So check the socials. I believe it's going to be, speaking prematurely, I believe it's going to be possibly the 23rd. But again, check the, we'll have it, we'll be posted on Facebook. We'll be doing it on YouTube and LinkedIn. But we'll be doing a KTI chat live from Center Stage at the KTI Summit at the Shippensburg University campus. So I'll be looking forward to that KTI chat. We're working on, Twitch, or what we were calling Twix. Isn't what it used to be. So it's kind of taken a little hit of our KTI chat we used to do on Twitter and stuff. And now we're kind of incorporating some video, some audio. And so like I said, we're hosting it on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And we'll be working on pulling in Instagram, TikTok, pulling in some other virtual platforms where you can kind of interact and give your information. So be on the lookout for the socials, because we are bringing the KTI chat back. Good stuff. And it's already in the calendar. So you can always register. So that way you get your calendar reminder to kick out to you. A lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, a lot going on. Keep checking PACT.org for details. We also have the weekly newsletter. We have the email blast that goes out throughout the week. If you're wanting to get something going in your region, please reach out to your regional directors. Go to PACT.org, reach out to them. They're always looking for people to help them out and host different events. They'll give you the lowdown as to what you need to do to get an event hosted near you.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And then, gosh, you were talking. I was like, I had an idea to share, and it just left me. So, hey, it's gone.
Tell them the PACT pod sent you.
Summer brain kicking in. But yes, always say the PACT pod. Always let them know. A lot of good stuff going on there. And then, so, I was going to say is P&C RFPs are open. So we are actively recruiting and accepting submissions for presentations to get ready for P&C 2026 in the sweetest place on earth, Hershey, Pennsylvania, first week of February, 2026. So looking forward to catching up with a lot of people and hearing a lot of great things that are happening in our classrooms, because as we know, it's for kids, everything we do. So a lot of good stuff.
And it doesn't hurt to put in an application. If you think you're doing something good, or you're not certain if you're doing something good, submit a proposal, because that's the one thing. And, we've talked, Kevin Honeycutt's talked about it. Coy Bowles has talked about it on this podcast. Teachers don't like to feel that they're bragging. So frame it from the standpoint of what your students are doing. What are your students doing that's cool that other students could learn from and help make their learning better? Frame it from that argument.
There is a stat, Dom. 99.999% of all applications not submitted don't get accepted. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't do the math. In fact, at ISTE, someone tried giving me a math sticker. I ran. I did.
That is true.
I said, "Is that someone famous?" And they turned, and I ducked into the crowd. It was just
shot out of there.
Either way,
hit into the international teachers into their pack, so you could hide and nobody could see you. So
like my kryptonite.
Good stuff. But if you don't submit anything, it's never going to get accepted. Why not put something in there and put yourself out there? Because hey, if you're going to present, whether it's a poster, whether it's in the playgrounds, whether it's a concurrent session, if your proposal gets accepted, that's a free ticket to P&C. Then you just got to worry about room and board and getting yourself there. So but it's always an exciting time. A lot of good stuff going on.
And if you're hesitant to present in front of a large group of people, put in for a poster session. Those are fantastic. Great way to start out. People, come around, people come by, ask you questions, talk one-on-one or a small group. Great way to start if you're not confident in your presenting.
Yep. And if you're unsure and a little nervous, be on the lookout. I imagine the live call will be coming out for the Pioneer program that PACT is sponsoring and working with educators to help them just solidify their abilities to kind of lead in their where they're at. Not just in their classroom, but lead PD, step up and present at P&C. So we're always looking for new people to present new ideas, and because even though you do something and you think every day this is nothing. 10 other people have never done it before, and they're going to hear it and be like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for that solution. So put yourself out there. Definitely. Yeah. And again, keep watching. We'll push it on the socials, because if you're first time putting in an application and you're nervous, the program team will have some sessions to be able to walk you through, what to do, tips and tricks kind of a thing, to put in there for people who've put in, sessions for the last, 10, 12, 13 years. So always good to hear from them. So all right, man. Well, a lot of good stuff going on. You know, it's an active July. We're getting ready to go on vacation. Going to hit the lake for a couple days before to get, you know, just to relax before KTI. And then, you know, when we come back from KTI, that first week of August, start getting into the classroom, getting some things together and working on shoring up some of the learnings I got from ISTE to pull in some of that AI use and some of those creative ways. You know, the one thing, this wasn't an ISTE thing. Somebody did talk about it, but I don't know if you've seen this, the thermal printer.
Yes.
Have you seen that? Grab one of those, and this thing's nifty. I'm gonna be cranking this thing out this year in the classroom, pretty big.
Yeah, I have it. I took it. That's the one thing I didn't do during our presentation. We were a little too scattered. I wanted to, because we had our stickers, our anti-theft devices, but then we could have incorporated taking our picture with the attendees, and they could have their own image emblazoned with our anti-theft device.
It would not be a pod without Dom pulling the one up. Oh yeah, I already had one of those. And no, it was in San Antonio, all the jets. So yeah, no, all good. Yeah, I'm you know got some interesting uses for that this year. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah. I was trying to look up one of those little printers that were printing the AI stickers on, but yeah, no, those things are a little too pricey. But man, they were slick. So yeah. So all right, man. Well, listen, I think it's a good time to call it a wrap. We're not gonna be doing the pod live from KTI. There is just way too many amazing presentations that are occurring. Yes. So we'll have the live KTI chat kicking, but we will not have a pod rolling live, but we'll be back first Tuesday of August and starting to get ready. So we're going to be putting some calls out there for people like to maybe come on the pod, share with what you're going to do new this year. What do you think the latest and greatest? What have you been seeing? And try to get some new voices out here. Because listen, you know, PAECT, we are
the voice of ed tech in Pennsylvania
and
beyond.
So we need your voices, definitely. All right, let's thank our sponsors. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great rest of your July.
Take care. PAECT and the PAECT Pod would like to thank all of our sponsors. Our Tier 3 sponsors, EduSpire, Tech the Next Step. Our Tier 2 sponsors, ClassLink, more time learning, less time logging in. Teachers First. Lego Education. Once again, PAECT and the PAECT Pod would like to thank all of our sponsors for the support that allow us to do what we do. Thank you.